So why aren't the Falcons getting more love and more respect throughout the NFL? So just quick snapshots, okay? When you look at Fox Sports or Fox NFL or Fox Sports, they have their power rankings out for the NFL. And you go through the list and you look for the Atlanta Falcons, and Atlanta Falcons are sitting at 29th in the NFL, below Tampa Bay. The only teams behind the Falcons are the Texans, Titans, and Cardinals. And Cardinals have maybe one of the worst rosters in the entirety of the NFL right now. When you look at Pete Prisco and his power rankings in the NFL, right now he's got the Atlanta Falcons, and Pete Prisco's not necessarily a hater of the Atlanta Falcons in general. He was always a big Matt Ryan supporter, but he's got them 26th. He's got no team in the NFC South below what the Falcons are. The Patriots, Broncos, Colts, Texans, Rams, and Cardinals are below what the Atlanta Falcons are. Nate Davis with USA Today. He's got the Atlanta Falcons currently sitting at, let's see here. He's got them currently sitting at 25th right now. Titans, Raiders, Buccaneers. So he's got the Buccaneers behind them. Commanders, Commanders, Texans, Colts, Cardinals, all sitting behind. So why aren't the Falcons getting more love in this scenario? Why aren't they being favored to win the NFC South? You know, Vegas odds don't have them winning the NFC South. What is it about the Falcons that, is it disrespect or things like that? Can I tell you that this is the symptom of when you have 5 straight losing seasons. When you have 5 straight losing seasons in the NFL, in a sport that is designed to go from worst to first, it's hard to lose for 5 straight years and feel like you're a competent organization. Now, again, we know the reality of, okay, the Falcons are going to be better this year and this and that. And do they still have questions? Sure. Are they able to win the NFC South? Sure. Are they the favorites to win the NFC South? Probably not. But when you've had 5 straight losing seasons in a sport where you're supposed to go from bad to good in a heartbeat. I mean, take the Jacksonville Jaguars, okay? A couple of years ago in the debacle season with Urban Meyer and the coaching change and Lawrence's rookie year and all this good kind of stuff, right? All this falderall and all this kind of crazy stuff for it. They went 3-14. They followed that up the next year, this past season, with 9-8, won their division, had a winning record, and looked like a, fairly competent playoff team. So it's hard to go 5 straight losing seasons in the NFL if you're a good organization. And yeah, have we done our things and taken care of our business? And sure, I do believe that. I'm not doubting all of that. But you can understand why, though, that Pete Prisco and other Nate Davis and these guys, that they don't pick the Falcons and don't have faith in the Falcons. Because, again, in a sport that is designed to go from bad to good overnight, not this process of building things and all this, that, and the other. And the excuses are, we're in cap purgatory. Well, okay, well, every team's, got those kinds of things they're facing. Saints have been a decade of cap purgatory. Like they've always been in cap jail, cap hell, whatever phraseology you want to use. They've always been there. And yet they find ways to sign guys. It's like the Falcons are the only team in the NFL that has to deal with the reality of a cap and things like that. Everybody else finds money. Everybody else finds money to spend on players. Oh, what, we need Honey Badger and Jarvis Landry right at the end? Okay, yeah, we'll sign those guys. Like, everybody finds money to spend on players, except us. We use that excuse. So again, it's not really hard to figure out. It's not that the Falcons haven't improved. It's not that the Falcons don't look like they are better. but history tells you, right? I mean, past performance is an indicator of future performance, right? That again, if you've had five straight losing, then this is why I talk about this, just because again, it's hard to be bad for 5 years in a row. It's hard to be out of the playoff for an organization like the Falcons that had all kinds of success on the Matt Ryan regime, that they were a consistent playoff team, except for the last few years of Matt's run. But they were consistently, through most of Matt's career, a consistent playoff team. They didn't win it all the time. I mean, they got bounced out, and early on in the playoffs, and sometimes they went to the Super Bowl, I mean, but they were always at least in the mix to be a competitive team. Even if they didn't win their division, they were in the mix to be a wild card team or something like that. But you've had 5 straight losing seasons in what is perceived to be a bad division. It's no wonder that, again, you don't have to think any deeper than this. It's no wonder that Pete Prisco and Nate Davis and guys like that don't look at the Falcons and say, well, geez, they're super talented, right? And people across the NFL, again, they have my philosophy on the draft. They like Bijan Robinson, the player. They really like what he brings to the table, but they also scratch their head and say, you've had 39 sacks in 2 years. You've had 39 sacks in 2 years. You were 2 yards away from being the second best rushing team in the NFL, and you drafted a running back at 8. And they look and say, okay, you have a lot of what ifs as far as your defense goes. You should be better on offense and this, that, and the other, but you still have questions about what your defense is. So again, it's not a real mystery. When you're in a bad division and you've had 5 straight losing seasons, that's where the math doesn't add up. That's where the math is saying, okay, what really are we? What are we at the end of the day with all of this kind of stuff? Do I think personally that the Falcons are better? Yes, because we look at the Falcons every single day. We see that they have improved the quality of their roster. We see that there are things that they are doing to address the needs and issues of this team. But when you have that 35, just like we talk about all the time, the 35,000-foot view, the Peter King theory of football. Peter knows more about the entirety of the NFL than anybody else. But when you look at the get the Falcons under the microscope, we know more about the Atlanta Falcons because we live it, we eat it, we breathe it every single day. We're around it every single day. So that's why it's no more complex than that. You're in a division that is not very good, and you've had 5 straight losing seasons. This is not a matter of not believing in Arthur Smith or Terry Fontenot or what the quality of the roster is. It's a matter of, okay, you guys haven't been good for a long time. Why would I expect you to be good now? Yeah, you've improved the roster and this and the other, but you look and say, okay, how much have we improved in the pass rush or whatever? Whatever really ails us, and it's the pass rush that really ails us. But again, that's another discussion for another day. But it's no more deeper than that. If you've not been good for 5 straight years, why would I all of a sudden imagine that you're going to be good now? It's the Ghostbusters theory. We are ready to believe you. And right now, there are a lot of folks that aren't ready to believe the Atlanta Falcons. Do I think that they can certainly, for lack of a better term, rise up and get things done? Sure. I think they can be a good football team. They don't have to be a dominant football team when all is said and done, but they have to be a good football team. And if they don't turn the corner around with this franchise, in this 3rd year of Arthur and Terry, there's going to be some questions asked. If it's another 7-10 season, I think that Arthur and Terry get the start of the 2024 season, but if they get off to a rough start, they won't be around in much longer. That's the reality of it all. So again, it's no more deeper than the fact that the Falcons haven't had success over the last 5 years. They're not in a very good division. And until the Falcons do it, there's no reason to pick them to do it. All right, let's talk about as we say, when you first make Jon Chuckery your first listen in every day, make sure that you go into the comments section of whatever platform you're listening on, YouTube, wherever, and leave us a comment that you are an everyday listener. So we thank you so much for being as what we call an everydayer to the program, listening in 5 days a week. Let us know that you are an everydayer. Let your voice be heard, that you are an everyday listener to Hittin' Hard with Jon Chuckery. We thank you so much for obviously being a part of our community every single day.